The story of James, Too Deep, and Little Nhi continues like a river that never rests, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, always moving forward. Just as the three believed they had found a fragile peace, life once again turned against them, reminding them that storms do not always announce their arrival. The market dawn. Morning came quietly to the small village. The sun, shy and hesitant, peeked through the misty mountains, spilling timid golden rays onto the damp ground. Dew clung stubbornly to the roof tiles, dripping onto the red bricks below in tiny sparkles that looked almost like tears. In the kitchen, Too Deep was already awake. Her slender hands moved swiftly, bundling fresh vegetables harvested from the fields, morning greens still fragrant with earth. Two baskets, heavy enough to bow her shoulders, stood ready for the day. She carried not just produce, but the survival of her family. She gently woke little Nhi. The child rubbed sleep from her eyes, then followed her mother without complaint. Along the mist-wrapped village path, hibiscus hedges glowed red against the pale air. Nhi trotted cheerfully beside her, skipping, asking endless questions, tugging at her mother's sleeve. Sometimes her chatter made Too Deep laugh softly, momentarily lifting the weight from her heart. At the market, chaos turned to rhythm. Vendors called out prices, fish splashed in basins, and the smell of fried cakes drifted through the crowd. Too Deep spread her vegetables on a worn bamboo mat, arranging them with care. Beside her, Nhi sat obediently, arranging bundles with small, dusty hands. Passers-by paused, drawn by the little girl's bright eyes and quiet diligence. One neighbor bought greens, smiling. Such a clever child. She'll grow into a capable woman. The words warmed Too Deep's heart more than any sale. For her, hardship dissolved in those fleeting moments of pride. She looked at her daughter, flushed cheeks, sparkling eyes, that carefree smile, and thought, "If you walk with me, my child, there is no burden I cannot bear." A father's fury, a son's fall. While mother and daughter fought quietly for survival, storms brewed in the world of business. Inside the glittering headquarters of the family corporation, silence gripped the boardroom. Executives sat stiff, heads bowed, as the chairman, James's father, prepared to pass judgment. His voice, honed by decades of power, cracked through the air like a whip. "James, from this moment, you are no longer worthy to sit in that chair. You chose a small family, an ordinary woman, a child not your own, over the honor of your bloodline. Leave this company at once." No one dared defend James. They all understood. This was not about corporate governance. It was about pride, betrayal, and bloodlines. The verdict came swiftly. Accounts frozen. Credit cards cancelled. Access revoked. In an instant, James, the man who once commanded thousands, was stripped of everything. But what hurt most was not the loss of wealth or power. It was the look in his father's eyes, cold, dismissive, as though their blood meant nothing. His hands trembled, his chest tightened. But when James closed his eyes, he saw Diep's tired figure in the market, little Nye's laughter ringing like a bell, the warmth of their modest home. And he whispered to himself, I can lose money. I can lose honor. But I will not lose them. Even if I must start again from nothing, I will rebuild it all, as long as they are by my side. When he opened his eyes, the room no longer frightened him. He had been broken, but something new had been born inside him, resilience. A mother's secret gift. Far away, James's mother sat sleepless by the window, the moonlight silver on her wrinkled face. She touched an old photograph of her husband on the altar, her heart torn between loyalty and sorrow. In silence, she made her decision. From her years of hidden savings, she transferred 5 billion dong to James, a secret lifeline born of love. When James saw the notification, his hands shook. He called her immediately. Mother, why? This is your life's sweat, your only security. Her voice trembled with love. You are my son. Money can be earned again. But if you fall, what meaning would my life have? James closed his eyes, tears burning. After a long pause, he said firmly, I will take only 3 billion. Enough to rise again. Keep the rest, for your own future. I cannot let you lose everything for me. On the other end, silence, then quiet sobs. For the first time, she saw not her boy, but a man strong enough to face storms. Her pride filled the night. The investor's test. Not long after, James met Mr. Trang, a seasoned businessman with decades of scars from the marketplace. They sat across from each other in a modest café. James, stripped of his empire, spoke with steady fire. I will invest 3 billion for 7% equity in your textile company. But beyond money, I will bring clients from the US, Korea, Japan. Together we can take this brand global. Mr. Trang narrowed his eyes. You are no longer a CEO. No power. No family support. Why should I trust you? James did not falter. Because I have nothing left to lose. And a man with nothing left to lose fears nothing. You may see me as fallen. But this is my chance to rise stronger. I don't need pity, I need a chance. The cafe fell silent. Mr. Trang studied him, then smiled faintly. You have the spirit I need. Let's work together. Their handshake sealed more than a deal. It marked the rebirth of James. A new dream rising. After the meeting, James drove to the farm project he had nurtured with his last hope. Workers hammered, painted, and laughed as twilight glowed over tin-roofed workshops. The air smelled of soil and timber, a promise of beginnings. Progress is at 95%, sir. In a few days, you can move your family here, a manager reported. James touched the fresh walls, his heart swelling. He imagined Diep standing at the gate, NHI in her arms, both smiling as they entered a new home. He whispered softly, "Diep, there will be a surprise for you. Proof that I never stopped dreaming of us." The hidden worry. That night, James returned home to the modest glow of their small kitchen. Diep and NHI had prepared dinner: boiled greens, caramelized fish, pickled eggplants. Simple food, but to James, it was the very taste of home. Daddy's home. NHI squealed, running to his arms. Her laughter washed away his weariness. For a moment, the world outside ceased to exist. Yet Diep, watching quietly, felt unease. James smiled, but his eyes often carried a shadow. He was quieter, more distant, as though carrying a secret burden he would not share. That night, as she listened to father and daughter laughing together, she whispered in her heart, "James, I know you are hiding something. You've already lost so much, yet you fight every day. But what truth are you protecting me from? And when it surfaces, will it shatter this fragile peace we hold?" The house glowed with warmth, but under its light, silent questions lingered. Unanswered questions. James had lost everything, yet he had risen again. Diep and little NHI stood as his anchor, his purpose, his fragile fortress. But in the shadows of his determination, worries remained unspoken. Would the storms of the outside world spare their small family? Or would hidden truths shake the foundation they had fought so hard to build? For now, their story continues, at once tender, fragile, and unyielding.